Hey everybody, it's great to hear it. In this video, we're going to have a quick look at my YouTube studio for 2020. We'll do a quick walkthrough of the lighting, the mics, and all of that stuff. So let's get started. All right, so anyway, here we are, and this is the view that you see. But we're going to have a look behind the scenes as well. Now let's start with the light. So there's a lot of different lights on the market. I just happen to have a 12-inch flex light from Westcott. So what I've done is I put it in a photography softbox. So I have a rapid box, and then I just stuck the flex light in there, and then I basically have a couple extra layers of diffusion with a grid. So that's what I've got for my lighting setup. Now, one of the most important things is I'm using the Panasonic Gh4. That's my primary camera, and then I have a secondary camera here. This is the Sony A7 III. Now, what you're looking at right now is the Panasonic Gh4. Now, both these cameras work with an app on the iPad. So you can see here, this is my iPad right here. But it allows me to see myself. I don't know if you can see this, but I can adjust all my camera settings, turn it on and off. I can do all of that with just this app. So I can focus on myself, because the Panasonic Gh4, the autofocus isn't that great. But with this app, I can just touch wherever I want to be in focus. I can also adjust my aperture and everything like that. So I like using this setup. Now, one of the reasons why I've set this up is, if you're a YouTuber, then you know that it's a bit of a struggle to get yourself to create content sometimes. So it's a good idea to have a setup that's ready to go. So your light's ready, your mic is ready, everything's white balanced. All you have to do is hit record and start recording. So I wanted to have a desk set up for that. Now, as far as my recorder, I'm using the Zoom H6. And what I've done different this year in 2020, although I've been doing this for years, is I have an AC adapter hooked up now to my Zoom H6. I also have an AC adapter hooked up to my Lumix Gh4. So I'll have a different video about those adapters. But what that allows me to do is now I don't have to worry about charging my batteries for my camera or for my Zoom recorder, because this is a setup here that I'm going to keep this way. Now, a lot of times I like to use a wireless lav mic, but then that also needs batteries as well. So that's why I've set up this boom mic. Now, everything's just out of shot, but I've got my boom mic hooked up to the Zoom, so I don't have to worry about charging batteries, because sometimes when you go to shoot a video, if you have some inspiration and then you're like, oh, I have to charge my batteries for the Zoom and the camera battery's dead, and then you just say, oh, forget it. So the reason for the AC adapters is that I don't have to worry about that. I'm in a home studio. I don't need to have battery power, so the AC adapters help me as far as creating content quickly. Now, I'm using a boom arm here. You can see when we look at the B-roll, you can see that I've got a boom arm that's got this light just out of sight, and then you can see here I just have a plain gray backdrop. But if I want to, I could switch this around and have a room with some hue lights in the background. But I just want to have like a non-distracting background, just because it can be distracting to have things in the background at times. But that's about it, basically. This is just one of my studio setups. I can also go, mobile, stuff like that with the Ronin and all that. But I just wanted to have a place where I could sit down. And so if you're a YouTube creator yourself, it's good to have a setup like this so that you can just sit down and hit record and then start talking about whatever it is that you want to talk about. So consider some of those things. Now, there's different options for lights. I guess the key here is that it's AC power, and it's on a boom arm. It's just out of the shot. It stays there permanently, just out of the shot. I've got a mic on a boom arm. This is the Audio Technica 8015. I think a similar mic might be like a Rode NT-G4, similar price point. Again, this is on a boom stand. And then I have my Zoom H6 and my Panasonic Gh4, and with the app that allows me to control the camera. So basically, if you set up something like this, where none of the variables change, it's just going to be a lot quicker for you to create content. You could just sit down at your desk, hit record. Once you've got this app set up, this app works with Sony cameras and the Panasonic Gh4. I'll put this app below in the description box. I have no affiliation with them. I don't get paid for that. I just find it handy. So if you want to check that out, you can do that. That's in the description box. And that's about it. If you have any comments or questions about this setup, I know it's kind of unconventional because you can't necessarily go out and buy this lighting setup, but you could get something similar. I know that Godox has a LED light with a softbox that you can use. I know that Aperture has something that you can use. This just happened to be some gear that I had, and I thought, well, why don't I make the 12-inch flex light a little bigger by putting it in a 32-inch softbox. So one of the keys for light, for quality of light, is two things really, is the size of the modifier and how close the modifier is to you. So if you want softer light, bring that modifier in close. This is about 2 feet from me. I could probably get it a little closer, and then I could probably take the grid off. But the grid is basically set up so that I don't have a lot of light spilling on the background. So you could see that the background is not as bright as the foreground. So a grid on your modifier will help you to control that light as well. So if you're looking for something like that, I know there's some cheap softboxes on Amazon that come with a grid. So as far as the size of the modifier, I would recommend about 32 inches minimum if you want soft, flattering light for your videos. Anyway, if you have any comments or questions, you can ask them down below. If you found this video helpful, I release photography videos every week. If you don't want to miss those, just hit the subscribe button and hit that bell notification, and you'll get an email update about my next video. All right, thanks for watching this video. Give me a thumbs up if you found it helpful. If you have any comments or questions, you can post them down below. And then also, I'll have a couple of videos pop up at the end of this one. If you want to check out my portrait lighting playlist, check that out too before you go. All right, thanks for watching this video. It's Craig Becta, and I'll see you in the next one.